Hey guys, Mike here again for another column with Guitar World magazine. Last time we looked at composing using a melody-first approach, coming up with a melody, writing a harmony to it, and then expanding with the fingerstyle ideas and a few extended techniques as well. This month I wanted to look at I wanted to share with you another approach that I have when it comes to composing my own music. And for this we're going to be looking at how I wrote a couple of riffs for a new song of mine called Overload, which I recently shot a video for. This is a very percussion-heavy song, so unlike the previous months where it was very melodic, this is a very overbearing piece of music. And this stemmed from a single idea, a little seed. I sat at my guitar and I was playing around and I just came up with this very, very short rhythmic phrase. Very short indeed, that was it. And the reason I'm showing you this is because sometimes when I'm writing music for fingerstyle guitar, that's all it takes to trigger a spark. And when you get that spark, you sort of just wrap a harness around it and ride it and it'll take you to where you need to go. This whole song was built on this idea. And that percussive idea, just to break it down for you, starts with a bass drum and a hi-hat effect, as I would call it, which is essentially just strumming the muted strings with the back of your fingernail together, okay, like this. That's followed by an accent with the middle finger of the fretting hand, okay. The next two hits are your thumb creating a little accent. Last time we used that as our snare drum, but here, because the percussion is so heavy, this only has the dynamic of a little exaggerated hi-hat or something like that. After that, the wrist is pivoting backwards again to strum upwards to get another hi-hat, okay? Remember, keep your wrist nice and loose and pivot, okay? We don't want to have any forced motions like that, otherwise you'll knack yourself, you'll injure yourself, and it's just no fun. As every action has this opposite action, we're going to come down now with a proper snare, a real snare, a man's snare. And this is a snare that I have picked up from players like Petri Sariola and Bob Brosman, players that will play a lot around this area for their snare beats, okay? And here I've got my fingers on the end of the fingerboard, as well as the thumb hitting the wood at the same time. So this is without the thumb. It's more of a breakbeat thing, and then we have the thumb providing the meat. The meat for the veg, the meat and the veg. So anyway, that passage is something like this. So when I came up with that, the next thing I did was add a single bass note. Very, very simple. All I'm doing there is just releasing my fingers here to play an open string. Shortly that progressed and became more of a single note groove. And I remember I did this backstage at a show in San Francisco and thought it was really, really fun. So hopefully you will as well. Just like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So I'll break down the rest of that rhythm for you, nice and slowly. We've done this, but to finish that, we are going to go. We pull off from our snare to get that hi-hat. Then this is the tricky part. You're going to have the open bass string picked with the back of the nail, as well as a kick drum, and immediately followed in the same motion by that slap. Okay. After that, we have the kick drum slapping that string upwards, and then the accent muting it. Followed by another snare, nearly at the end. That's it. So we just pull off with the open string, accent, and then kick drum in isolation before we start back at the beginning again. Okay, so I'll just play it once for you nice and slowly so you can try and play along. The next thing was adding notes. You know, this is all well and good. We got a nice little rhythm, again, very percussive, heavy pattern, but we don't really have much music there, okay? So, as with the previous column, when I talked about adding a bass line, that was the next thing I decided to do, drum and bass together. So try this out. Very, very quick pattern. Okay, so although we've learned this choppy technique for that single bass note pattern, when I built it into a song, I wanted to strip it down a little bit, pull it back before going, full 100% in the percussion. So those notes again, exactly the same as before, but we're going to be starting on the 3rd fret, hammering onto the 5th fret. Okay, again, we're in dad-gad tuning, just like before. Okay, nice little bass line there. I'm pretty sure you can figure that one out. But the next thing I did was add in the cheesy melody. For those of you that know me, you know I love the cheesy melodies. I was born in 1989, but I feel like the 80s was my true decade. I absolutely love the cheese. So the melody for this song is super cheesy, rocky montage melody sounding something like this, which is just terrible, terribly cheesy. But when accompanied with the bass line, the percussion, and some chords as well, we have something that sounds like this. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that escalated pretty quickly. So I'm going to break that down nice and slowly for you guys. We're starting with this double stop harmony in the melody. Okay, whilst fretting that, we're also going to pick that C, that bass note, along with the D as well in the bass, with a kick drum as well. Okay, as we slide up with the kick drum, the second finger comes off the harmony to change that harmony, to bring it down, okay, to the open A, like that. Sometimes I'll keep it, but sometimes I will lift it off. In this case, we're going to lift it off and harmonize that F with the A, okay? And on that last slap before the snare drum, we're going to be pulling off that top string, okay? Just like that. Now this snare drum, unlike the snare I talked about previously, actually exposes the open strings. You see, I'm landing just in the bass register. That way, it's not going to interfere the resonance, okay? Not going to interfere with the note. Because if you're in a band and the drummer hits a snare drum, it doesn't immediately cut out all the music, okay? And that's what you've got to think about. We're thinking like the individual musicians here, the drummer, the bassist, the rhythm guitar, and the cheesy lead guitar on top, okay? Then we have this nice tasty chord here. Immediately changing to this with a kick drum and a aggressively picked index finger as well. Okay, nice and slowly. Okay, hopefully you've got that so far. Now we slide down to this chord. And that's the chord that we're going to be swiping up with our hand. Okay. Then our little bass line varies a little bit. In order for us to get the full 3-note bass part that I want, we have to hammer on with our pinky down here because our snare is covering our open A string, we can't really pick it at the same time. So, okay. But as we brush off, we're picking the open strings to provide that harmony in the melody. Okay. After that, we have the outro stuff. A little bit tricky. I'll break that down for you. We have a kick, a 12th fret harmonic, okay, hammered with the second finger. Much like you see players like Matthias Eklund do on an electric guitar, we're doing that on an acoustic. Okay. It's a snare drum. I'm trying to remember all these little intricate details here. Okay, so we're just pulling up to pick those top 2 strings as harmonics. And then hammering those 2 bass notes with the thumb. And then then this nice little filter end. On the 3rd fret. So hopefully, through all the word vomit, you have established this part. I'll play it again for you nice and slowly. So now we're going to carry on with the section and provide a little variation in the second half, sounding a little something like this. Okay, so a little variation there. Now let's look at what we've got. We don't have this pull off at the beginning, okay? We just have the open A string from the get-go. This time the chord is moving up 2 frets, okay? Going back to this chord as the 3rd chord now. Then we have this nice little harmony, which comes from the G string just here, okay? Again, similar pattern as before, but when we hammer back down to this note, we have that harmony there. Also, when we're brushing up on those harmonics, we're catching the G string in there as well this time, because that acts as part of the harmony. Okay, very important to get that. This time, a little slight variation on the ending fill. Instead of just hammering the F, we're going to be hammering that C on the beat, and then up to the 5th fret, bass drum, pull off to the A. Okay? So then the ending fill is slightly different as well. Instead of just hammering onto that F note in the bass, we're going to be hammering onto the C, hammering up to the 5th fret, then pulling off to the A to finish that bar. Okay, so good luck with that one, guys. It's a little bit different, very overbearing. The song is called Overload for a reason. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Good luck with it, and I'll see you next time.